Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Charles Oliveira reveals he plans to return to the octagon in March or April, and believes he's only one fight away from a rematch with Islam Makhachev. I've been a long way away from that belt, this time I'm only one fight away. The UFC knows that, knows what I want. I didn't come here to play, I came here to make history. I want to fight there by the end of March, April. I have to fight on that date, and I need a guy who by winning means I'm definitely the next title challenger. Islam Makhachev will fight in February, so in March or April, picking a guy who puts me back in the face of the title goal at the end of the year, just one more fight to the belt. Sean Strickland recently joined Helen Yee for an interview and had this to say about Paulo Costa's situation with the UFC. Here's the clip.
You're fighting at 205, but in the middleweight division, there was a fight that was supposed to happen next month between Paulo Costa and Robert Whittaker, and it looks like Paulo Costa is having like a dispute with his contract. So what advice would you give him?
You know, I don't know how much that guy, do you know how much he's making?
I believe around 70.
I mean, here's the thing about Costa, and I like Costa, but he's also a kid. He doesn't make weight. He's an idiot. So it's like, when you're a kid and you go to the UFC and you say, hey, I want to do this. I almost fought Marvin Vettori on a 2-day notice because wouldn't make weight. So it's like, it's hard, man. When you don't do the right things, it's hard to get the right things back. But I don't know, dude.
During a press conference for UFC Vegas 67, Dana White has come out and said that no one should be defending him for the altercation that took place with his wife on New Year's Eve.
What happened on New Year's Eve is my mistake, not theirs. And obviously, nobody's more about free speech than me. If somebody, if one of the fighters wants to come out and voice their opinion on it and whatever it might be, then by all means. I'm sure you guys have seen the TMZ video and seen my interview. It was obviously a horrible personal experience, and there's no excuses for it. Something that I'm gonna have to deal with and live with for the rest of my life. And one thing that I do want to clarify in this thing that I didn't talk about on TMZ because I didn't expect it and I didn't see it coming, is the people that are defending me. There's never an excuse. I'm sure you guys have read some of the same stuff that I've seen. There's no defense for this, and people should not be defending me over this thing, no matter what. All the criticism that I have received this week is 100% warranted and will receive in the future.
Marvin Vettori believes Robert Whittaker should fight for the middleweight title next. Here's what Vettori had to say in an interview with the Schmo.
What does Robert Whittaker do next, man? If you're in his shoes, what'd you do?
I don't know. Whittaker's Whittaker's I don't know, I don't know what they're gonna make him do, but I don't know about Whittaker. He's beating a lot of people. He beat me the last fight, and yeah, man, the dude is solid. We'll see. I think he deserved a title shot too. I don't know.
And if the UFC went in that direction, would you favor him in a matchup against Alex Pereira or Robert Whittaker?
I think Whittaker can do it, yeah. I think Whittaker can do it because of the grappling a little bit. And yeah, he's a smart fighter, man. This guy he's a smart fighter.
John Anik joined Michael Bisping on the Believe You Me podcast to discuss what's going on with the Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman fight that's rumored to go down at UFC London in March. Here's the clip.
Kamaru, I haven't seen it, but he's walking around with kind of a brace over his hand, looking like he had surgery. And Kamaru being the pound-for-pound number one, formerly, being the long-time champion, people were talking about him taking George St. Pierre's throne as the greatest welterweight of all time, potentially to go one day. Rushing back into that after getting knocked out with potentially a sore hand, that wouldn't sound like a smart move. And by the way, I'm not trying to get on that fight because I hope it happens so big, but I don't know. I think all of us having a seed of doubt or a shred of doubt or whatever the goddamn expression that the stupid brain can't think of is, I think is warranted.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I know Ali wants people like me to stop with the rumor and the conjecture, right? But we have heard that Kamaru Usman, in terms of his knees, maybe aren't optimally healthy. So I don't know. We got to see how it plays out. But I certainly don't have to tell you. it takes a very special circumstance and fighter for us to do a pay-per-view in the United Kingdom. And seemingly we have that right now. Obviously, we had it with you and Dan Henderson. That was the last time we did a pay-per-view over there. I wasn't even the number one guy. So needless to say, man, I'm hoping that it all aligns for March 18th. I find it hard to believe that you do Leon Edwards and, you know, Bilal Muhammad or even Jorge Masvidal as the main event March 18th, but I guess we'll find out.
Conor McGregor is set to return to the UFC in 2023, and it's highly likely that his return will see him face off against Michael Chandler. In a recent interview, Dustin Poirier, who shared the octagon with both fighters, had this to say about the potential matchup. I would favor Conor. I think Chandler is very hittable. Conor's timing, we'll see what the layoff too, might be a big factor for Conor. But yeah, I would pick Conor still in this one. Chandler's hittable. Conor's longer than him. Chandler slows down. You know, if he does wrestle heavy to avoid the striking with Conor, he's going to slow down a bit, and he'll be more in front of Conor and able to get touched. I would put money on Conor if the fight happens. Not that I can't bet MMA. Kevin Lee joined ESPN's Brett Okamoto to discuss his move to PFL and the possibility of fighting Jake Paul. Here's the clip.
And then out of nowhere, they hit us with this Jake Paul thing yesterday. So it's still kind of fresh in my mind, right? But if they're doing super fights now, what better way to do a fight than do a super fight with me? I mean, I don't know. I do think if Jake Paul is serious, right? If he's serious about fighting MMA, for one, I'm gonna give him respect even if he just steps into the cage. It's totally different than the boxing arena. This thing is gonna be totally different. But if he wants real respect out of people who really understand fighting, he's gonna have to fight somebody like me. I mean, I'm in the prime of my career, a hell of a wrestler. I fought 6 different world champions, guys like Charles Oliveira, Tony Ferguson. The list could go on and on. You know, Michael Chiesa, Edson Barboza. I've already fought all these guys. So even if he was to make it the distance with me, or even if he was to make it past one bell, people can look at him and say, oh, okay, this guy could fight Leon Edwards one day.
This past week, Aljamain Sterling revealed he's still suffering from a torn bicep and doesn't believe he will be facing off against Henry Cejudo in March. In a recent video posted to his YouTube channel, Sterling said he doesn't take a fight with Cejudo lightly and needs to feel at 100% before he agrees to the fight. Sterling then had a Twitter exchange with Sean O'Malley. I fought 2 times and did 2 training camps with this partially torn bicep tendon to keep moving the division for the fans and the UFC. Now it's time to properly address it. I've stated this before and after the last fight. When is it fair for athletes to look after their body? Following this news from Sterling, Sean O'Malley spoke out and requested the fight against Cejudo if Aljamain is going to be out for the next few months. Is Aljo co-main fighting Henry or not? I'm confused. He said his bicep is torn. If that's the case, let me beat up Henry. Here's what Chael Sonnen had to say about the scenario.
So I think that Aljo makes a very fair point. He doesn't appear to care what's going to happen. By example, Henry, you and Sean go fight. I know how this works. They might interim it. They might, but don't act like I'm holding things up. If you guys want to fight so damn bad, go fight. I'll see you soon. Why do I have to go first? And I'm only sharing that with you because I don't want Aljo to look like the skunk at the garden party because I don't think that's what he is. He's been very busy. He's been very active.
Ariel Helwani responds to Dana White's latest press conference, where he discusses the New Year's Eve incident with his wife. One of the reporters asked Dana if he thinks any repercussions were necessary, and Dana said that his punishment would be having to walk around with this label of what he did, and that any further punishment would only hurt his employees.
He shouldn't be the one punishing himself. He shouldn't be the one answering the question on what the punishment should be, in my opinion. That should be to someone who is in a position to make these calls. You don't ask someone who committed the quote-unquote crime what they think the punishment should be. That's not how it works. That's not how it's ever worked in any walk of life. So it's fine that we ask them the question, like, do you think you should be punished? Do you think? But ultimately, it's not up to us. It's not up to him. It's up to the bosses. It's up to the people in charge.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.